So there are 5 key causes of type 2 diabetes, not 1, but 5. These are insulin resistance, oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, leptin resistance, and chronic stress. So insulin resistance begins with the fact that your cells are saying no to insulin. Why? Because you have got too much insulin in your system and your body's saying, hey, I got plenty of insulin, I don't need any more, thank you very much. And according to many scientists and doctors such as Dr. Jason Fung, hyperinsulinemia, an excess amount of insulin in your body, is the key problem. So the hyperinsulinemia leads to insulin resistance. Every person who's a type 2 diabetic has insulin resistance, but not everybody who has insulin resistance has type 2 diabetes yet. But insulin resistance is directly related to many diseases that appear later on, which include high blood pressure or hypertension, skin tags, dark velvety patches in your armpits and neck, chronic kidney disease, acne, sleep apnea, obesity, gout, erectile dysfunction, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cancer, heart attacks, strokes, peripheral neuropathy. So insulin resistance caused by hyperinsulinemia is the big issue for you to be concerned about, and this is what we're going to address later on. The next thing is oxidative stress. Imagine a nail which is left in a jar of water or exposed outside. It will eventually rust. That's called oxidization. This happens inside of your body because of oxygen interacting with other chemicals in your body. Oxidization takes place and we have antioxidants being naturally produced in our body, and it comes from the foods that we eat. However, if you have too much oxidative stress, meaning an excess amount of oxidation taking place, then that directly contributes to a number of diseases and insulin resistance. They include the hardening of your arteries known as atherosclerosis, and they lead to neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. So as well as addressing insulin resistance, you've also got to address oxidative stress. One common factor underlies and underpins every single chronic disease and autoimmune disease. It's called chronic inflammation. If you were to bump yourself, let's say your head against the wall, you're going to end up with a bruise if it was hard enough. And this bruising allows blood to be sent to this particular region of your body, and your immune system will help recover it, recuperate it, and so on. This is natural. However, when this happens at low levels that you're not really noticing it constantly, perhaps a year, perhaps longer, it is known as chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation opens yourself up to other diseases. One of them includes cancer. The other one, of course, is type 2 diabetes. And if you've got chronic inflammation, you're also going to suffer from chronic pain. That means back pain, neck pain, joint pains. Taking a pill to get rid of the pain only numbs down the sensation of chronic inflammation. It does not get rid of it. How do you get rid of chronic inflammation? We're going to look into that, and this includes the foods that you eat. Have you ever had a full meal and then 5 minutes later you're still hungry, or maybe 10 minutes later, maybe even 2 minutes later, you're stuffed to the brim, you're probably going to throw up if you eat anymore, but you're still hungry? That, my friend, is known as leptin resistance. Leptin is a hormone which is sent by your fat cells to your brain, letting your brain know, hey, I'm satiated, I'm full, I don't need to eat anymore. If you're constantly bombarding your brain with leptin, then your brain eventually resists. It says, nah, not going to listen to you. And so you develop leptin resistance. And this is a big issue because leptin resistance leads to this constant binge eating. Most people who are large, overweight, or obese will have leptin resistance. And the big issue around that is willpower doesn't work, motivation doesn't work. You have to develop habits, rituals, and behaviors that you stick to like a samurai on steroids. Actually, excuse that pun, no steroids, but like a samurai, you got to protect those disciplines that you develop. One of the disciplines you've got to develop, learn to eat less food or less calories than your body needs. And in time, you will start losing weight, and in time your leptin resistance will fall. It does take time. There's no rush. You will get there. And finally, in my mind, the number one cause is chronic stress. Chronic stress leads to binge eating. Chronic stress leads to emotional eating. Chronic stress leads to behaviors that are unhealthy for you, addictions. Chronic stress doesn't just appear from nowhere. Chronic stress is low-lying stress that is happening to you consistently every single day, and you're not addressing it.